think Jerry found a mic again, folks, after a wild win versus the Commanders. The Cowboys owner staying loyal, shocking, to his coach yesterday, saying he's not ruling out a contract extension for Mike McCarthy. Take a listen.
I don't think that's crazy at all. That's not crazy. Listen, Mike McCarthy is one outstanding coach, and Mike McCarthy has been there, done that. He's got great ideas. So bottom line is, in no place in my body language or anything else have you seen indications about what we're going to be doing relative to this staff at the end of this year. And we shouldn't. We got a lot of football left.
Why are you laughing? Crazy. I mean, I really haven't talked about it all year, so I mean, definitely not going to start on a short week in an important division game. But I'm not going to throw away positive vibes either. So I'll keep them coming. But that's all good. But no, yeah, that's not something I'm really focused on.
There's nothing in Jerry's body language that hints to it. That's good in a radio interview. Mad Dog, do you have a problem with Jerry backing McCarthy right now?
Well, let me say one thing. McCarthy's a good guy.
Yeah.
His cuts after the game, his soundbite, he does a good job with the press conference. That was funny. He handled that very well.
Mm-hmm.
He talks to the media, good or bad. He's a good guy. I think you agree with that? It seems like a good person. So I'm rooting for him. But again, Jerry, you would think last year of his contract, Belichick is out there. You want to throw Dion in? Maybe you. Who knows? But the bottom line is, you would think after a bad year, maybe they go in a different direction. McCarthy's been there a while. I think people were surprised he came back last year.
Right.
I would still think he won't come back, but I'm not going to go crazy if, in fact, he keeps him for a contract extension. Maybe he doesn't want to have Belichick coach his team. Who knows?
Stephen A?
One of the things that I wanted to say before I get into my point, Doggy, is that most people in professional sports I find to be good people. You're under the spotlight, you're under a microscope, you're getting criticized and critiqued every single day on the job. And obviously, sometimes that brings out the worst in you, but that doesn't make them bad people. I've seen people attack me. I've seen people attack you and others. They're not bad people. They just have bad moments in terms of their emotions and expressing themselves. But in all of my years of coaching professional sports, I got to tell you, more than 95% of the people that I've covered are actually really, really good people. So I just want to point that out about Mike McCarthy. I have no doubt that he's a good man, that he's a good guy, good family man, et cetera, et cetera. But that's one of the problems that has been accompanied with sports. The level of sensitivity is heightened so much, we almost have to preface our comments by reminding everybody these are good people, as opposed to simply just critiquing what the hell we're seeing. And in the case of Mike McCarthy, here's what it comes down to. I appreciate the fact that he has a sense of humor, that he's able to be a bit affable and laughing at himself and Jerry Jones and all of this stuff and finding the good within a bad season and all of that stuff. But over his last 7 years as a head coach, he's got one playoff victory. Now, that's alarming, Jeff Saturday. That's alarming, Doggy. And when you consider the fact that Jerry Jones ultimately had to let go of somebody who was considered like a son to him in Jason Garrett because of his absence of postseason success, well, Mike McCarthy is in his fifth season, and he's got one playoff victory to show for it. Now, does that mean he can't coach? No. Does that mean he doesn't know football? No, it doesn't mean any of that. What it does mean is that you've come up significantly short of expectations in your nearly 5 years as a head coach for quote-unquote America's team, the most popular franchise in all of sports. So in the end, when we hear Jerry Jones say what he has said about Mike McCarthy and not ruling out a contract extension, if people are aghast over it, it's not because Mike McCarthy is not a good coach, and it's certainly because he's not a good person. It's because we're looking at the results and we're saying, how the hell could you be thinking about an extension with the results that you're getting?
First of all, Jerry can't say anything else. He doesn't want this to turn into a New York Giants situation where players aren't playing hard, or at least at this point, you're keeping a little bit, kind of hidden or mysterious, so players want to play hard for McCarthy, so he's not just leaving him out there. But he did leave him as a lame duck coach, not giving him a contract extension, so he's going into the season that way. And here's the other thing. You let go of Kellen Moore, who's now in Philly and has one of the highest producing offenses in the NFL, and doing it the right way, physically dominating people, bringing Jalen Hurts kind of back into the conversation of one of the elite quarterbacks. The defensive coordinator hire in Zimmer has not really panned out. And will they get better? There's still a lot of season left. So does that change? All of those things kind of come into question the head coach's responsibilities, because he has been calling the plays. And to your point, Stephen A., even with Dak as the starter, they weren't performing. Now, we can assign a ton of that to Jerry this year especially. We can say, hey, they have rookie offensive linemen or young offensive linemen. You got an aging Zach Martin. You got Terrence Steele, who's kind of an okay. You don't have running backs, which makes it more difficult. You only got one really certified receiver. There's a lot of excuses to kind of go around or causes, however you want to look at it. That still won't save a guy's job. Because at the end of the day, if you're going to go hire Dion or you're going to hire Belichick or a Vrabel, but I want to know who you're hiring, because that's the other issue. If it's just going to be a parallel move, then why wouldn't you give an extension? Because the Cowboys have not shown me they're really all in by the players they get. So why would I believe they're all in on the coach they get until Jerry really does?
But if they hire one of those three that you just mentioned,
yes,
you're okay.
I would
with
say
the
that
move.
would be an upgrade.
Okay.
Yeah. I would.
Can I say?
Yeah, I would say that'd be an upgrade.
Can I say
Yes.
this? Let me say this to the both of y'all, just to remind the audience. You both know this, but I want to remind this. When I was a proponent of Bill Belichick being the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys, under no circumstances was I looking at Mike McCarthy and saying, you're horrible,
No.
you need to get fired.
I agree.
What I was saying was, there's a 6-time champion out there as a head coach, with the credentials of having a structured order, a structured house in order. And as a result, when you consider the chaos that comes associated, I'm talking about attention-wise with the Dallas Cowboys, having somebody who's an established champion who would bring that element to the franchise, it's almost like, okay, boom, you got to go get that guy. It's not about Mike McCarthy saying, oh, my God, he's horrible. Leave. Get away from here. You don't need to be coaching. It's about, well, Bill Belichick, that's one of one. And when you have somebody special, even when we talk about primetime Deion Sanders, because of the allure and the attraction and the magnetism that he brings to the situation, you're talking about him as one of one. When you run across somebody that brings that to the table and you have an opportunity to grab them, you take it. That's all we mean by that.
Yeah.
Nothing more.
And can I say this as well? Because I think your point is well made and it never gets discussed. If this were a player, we would have no problem. If there was a guy who is better, we're going to change that player over in a minute, and no one ever blinks. But when it comes to a coach, we're like, oh, wait a minute, he's done.
Yeah.
If there's a better, then you have to replace it. I fully agree with, and I think that is a cold part of the business, but a reality. And players live with it every day. To expect coaches not to do it. And here's the other part about Belichick that I think is unique in the situation. I don't think Belichick was great at designing or putting together rosters, right? I mean, Brady carried it, but afterwards, But when you think about what they have with that Prescott, with the number one, with a guy like Micah Parsons on defense, there's a lot of pieces in part that Bill has shown his success with those parts in place. So the addition of getting his offensive line to play better, his D line to play better, and he's done those things. That's why I think that fit just kind of gives you a little highlight.
And Dougie, to bring it home for you. Sometimes we're looking at players and they look like they've been hanging with you, chewing on those gummies during the weekend. You know what I'm saying? They seem a bit haphazard and stuff like that. So what are we saying, Dougie? What we're saying is that every now and then there's somebody that's got to come along that brings you that level of structure that makes you understand this is a job and you got to show up every day. Just the other day we were talking about the Denver Nuggets on television when Jamal Murray went out and he said after they lost, after they beat the Lakers, but they got blown out by the Knicks. Well, some guys live in L.A. in the offseason and they probably still hung around a little bit and whatever and weren't prepared. Nah. You said because the Dallas Cowboys sometimes have looked like that this season. You win your 4-2 on the road, but you're 0-5 at home. Yeah. What people are saying is, wait a minute. This is a job. This is a responsibility. You can get caught up in the allure, the star, the billion-dollar playpen that's Jerry World and all of this other stuff. But this is a job. And someone along the way has to come and remind you. They're fixated and transfixed on reminding you, this is business first. The fun comes from winning. But you got to handle your business in order to have fun. Yeah. And I don't think there's anybody better than Bill Belichick.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%. Now, he didn't hire Belichick last year when everybody was screaming about it, including the three of us sitting here and Molly at the table. Well, he was available. McCarthy had that, obviously, a bad playoff game to Green Bay.
Real bad.
He didn't hire him. So what makes us think he's going to hire him this year?
Right.
A year removed. So maybe McCarthy does get a 10-year lifetime contract extension. Who knows?
McCarthy has a .590 winning percentage, and up next they have the Giants, Bengals, and Panthers. And to your point, Stephen A., you do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do.
Do what you want to do.